And next, I would like to welcome Nikhil for taking a session on JavaScript certification. He is an active community member and has taken multiple sessions on JavaScript development. He is really a go-to person for any questions related to UX development. So we are really happy to have Nikhil here. So JavaScript is becoming the soul of Salesforce development nowadays. So I'm sure like this session is going to be really helpful for all of us. Over to you, Nikhil.
Yeah, thanks, Mira. I'll share my screen. Let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Nikhil.
Yeah. So hello everyone, welcome to the session again. So I'm gonna talk about today how to prepare and approach the Salesforce JavaScript Developer 1 certification that become very popular in a couple of months. So a little bit about myself. As you know, I'm Nikhil Kakra. I'm a full stack JavaScript developer, and last year I started Salesforce and I become now LWC specialist. I love to work around LWC. I have experience in financial, educational, and insurance sector. I have a great passion for UI, especially like experience, user experience, and design. And if you have any doubt or any thoughts after this session or any time for except Salesforce as well, I'm always open to discuss over the tea or online or as well as on chat. And you can always message me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn as compared to Twitter. And I have my channel for the videos on YouTube. So in this session, particularly, I'm going to cover these topics like the part to the certification, the part to the super batch, then part to the JavaScript developer exam, section-wise important topics and tips for exam, and the key resources to follow and links to practice. So I'll start with the first topic, that is part to the certification. So this certification is consist of two parts. First, you need to complete the super batch, and the second is the JavaScript developer exam. That is a Proctor-based exam. Many people ask me which order they should follow. There is no order where you can go first with super batch and the second with JavaScript exam, as well as vice versa. But I would recommend, if you don't have any experience in JavaScript or any experience in LWC, first go with JavaScript exam, because that gives you the confidence to clear the exam, learn the JavaScript and clear the exam, and use that JavaScript knowledge to clear your LWC super batch. That's the recommended approach, but there is no approach mentioned by Salesforce. And the other question during the certification, many people ask me like they achieved both the like super batch as well as the certification cleared, but they didn't receive the certification. So you approximately take, you will get the certification after 5 to 12 hours, okay, after the exams. So let's move on to the part to super batch. In super batch, they have divided into 4 categories. First section, that is the quick start Lightning Web Component, that gives you the understanding how to set up the LWC and how to go through the fundamental of LWC. Once you know the fundamental, then they move to the data, how you can connect the data with from Apex to LWC. After that, they teach you the testing, and once you know the testing, the important topic, that is web accessibility. Once you complete the all, you are eligible for the super batch, and this super batch is very important to earn the certification. I'll move to the main topic of the today's session, that is part to JavaScript developer exam. This exam is also of 60 multiple choice question. Time allocated is 105 minutes, and the passing score is 65%. So this particular exam is divided into 7 sections, and the first 2 sections are the heart of this exam. I would say that 47% is consist of overall exam, that is variable types and collection, and the object function and classes. So, but the exam outline, I would say you just go in this particular path only, like first start from the left and go to the right to the testing. The reason is first 2 section teaches you the fundamentals, how to write a variable, how to write the things, and the basic fundamental of JavaScript. When you know the JavaScript, then you use your knowledge of JavaScript to play around with the browsers. Then the browser events comes into the picture. Once you know how to play with the browser, you occurs errors. So after that, you get to know, okay, how error handling works. Once you know how error handling works, how browser works, how fundamental works, then you go for a asynchronous programming, where you use your JavaScript to connect your Apex programming. So once you know how I'm able to connect with the backend, I would say like Java or .NET, any backend is fine. Once you know that, then you go for the server-side JavaScript. That is a very little part of Node.js. And once you know everything, then you should know the testing, how you do the testing in JavaScript. So I'll go individually the section wise, what all the topics you should keep an eye while preparing. So the first section is variables, type, and collection. That is a 23% of the exam. Easy to score. And this is the fundamental that you're going to use everywhere in every company, like whether it's a Salesforce related project or it's an outside Salesforce related project. This is the fundamental or the base for your JavaScript knowledge. So the first topic, variables and initialization. This is very important because this teaches you how to create the variables, what are the standards or the naming convention you should know. Once you know you are able to create the variable, you should know what type of data types. Anyhow, for all the slides, I have given some tips to remember, because JavaScript is not like Java or other programming language that are strictly typed. Here, whatever the value you pass to a variable, it become of that type. So few weird things you will see, like type of null is an object in JavaScript. So I have put some points and you can practice that. So go through the data types. Once you know the data types, look into the what all types are falsy value. There are 8 types of falsy values, and the exam comes from these confusing topics only. Okay. Then you already know the data types. You should understand how you can convert from one data type to another data type. We call it version. You can go with the explicit version, then you can go for implicit version. Many people start doing implicit first, but you will never understand implicit version unless you know how to do explicit version. And these sort of questions comes in the exam from each topic. From this particular slide itself, you will get 15 questions in the exam, because it's a 23% of the overall exam. Then you should know what is date, how to fetch the current date, how I can add like 3 days or to 5 days to the current date, how I can set the date, how I can get the date. Then you should know how to play with the string methods. Like you have a name, from the name to fetch the first letter, second letter, give some padding to the start, to the end. Those sort of methods you need to play around with it. Then the heart of the programming of any programming language, that is array or collection, I would say. So in array, you should know how to use the spread operator of array. Spread operator is a new term introduced in the ES6. ES6 is a new version of JavaScript, I would say. And then you should know the maps, methods, map, for each, filter, find. And if you become expert in these 6-7 methods, you will rock in LWC world, I would say. Anytime you do either a filtering or the data modeling or anything, you use these 4-5 methods. So you need to understand this very, very well. Just remember the syntax from the exam point of view. Exam trying to confuse you with the syntax majorly, and try to write these methods in all format, like with the function keyword or with the arrow notations as well. You can follow this slide. I'll share the slides as well. Then the second topic is objects, function, and classes. Now we know the fundamental, how to create the variable, how to use that, what is the data type. We come to the complex data type, that is object. And in JavaScript, everything is related to object. So object is very important in JavaScript. First, try to understand how you can create the objects, read the object, delete the object. Then you need to, once you created the object, you have to perform some operation. To perform some operation, you need a method. So try to understand what freeze method does, or like prevent, extension, or assign. Use the spread operators and all. And then come to an object constructor, the confusing topic of JavaScript, because maximum people come from the strictly typed language like Java or Apex, where you have class features. But before ES6 in JavaScript, we never used the class keyword was there, and we were not using it. So we were using the object constructor. So if you define a function with a capital letter, we used to consider it as an object constructor. So once you know the object, you need to go to JSON understanding. You should know what is the correct syntax for JSON and why JSON keys and values are in double quotes. Once you know the JSON, you should know how to convert the object to string and string to object, that is stringify and parse method. Once you know the objects, then move on to the function. Function are of different types in JavaScript. You can declare a function with the expression or with the normal expression, normal declaration. Then they introduce an arrow notation. In the exam, these questions are very much like related to arrow function. And in programming also, going forward, you're going to use arrow function heavily. So just focus on all types of arrow function, like I mentioned, without parameter, with parameter, multiple parameter, when to use return statement, when not to use return statement, that sort of combination. Try with the arrow function. Then you need to understand, now you have the function, you have the objects, you need to understand the scope. If you are declaring a variable outside a function or inside a function or inside a if block, what's their scope? And to understand those scope for objects, you need to understand the this keyword. And this is very confusing topic, but if you practice it, it's very easy actually. Once you know the scope and this, you need to understand the object prototype. Before classes concept, we used to inherit the property of the object using object prototype. You will able to understand object prototype only if you are very good with object constructor or the objects. Then only you will able to understand the object prototype. Then after that, you need to understand classes. Classes are introduced in the later version of JavaScript that simplify the confusion occurred by the prototype chain. So you can go to the classes. Classes are pretty similar like Java or Apex or any other programming language. You need to just focus from the exam point of view, the syntax, when to pass super, when to use the constructors, how to call the constructor, those sort of things. Then now you know everything from function, objects, and scope. Now you need to use a modules. Modules is like in LWC we use heavily. You are creating a JavaScript file and you are importing that JavaScript file into the another file. So you need to understand the difference when to use a name export and when to use a default export, and when to use the entire module, when to use the single module. That use cases you need to understand, because in the exam the use case come around this topic. It's not a similar question like just give the some option and choose it, but it's more like a person working in a company and that blah blah. So it's a use case related questions comes into exam. So once you are good with these first two slides, you are approximate 48% ready for the certification. Okay, but object prototype questions are very lengthy or very complicated, so you may not get the correct answer for this, but practice hard, you will get it. Then the next topic is browsers and event. Now you are good with the fundamentals. Now we are using JavaScript to play with the browsers. And to play with the browser, what we can play with the locations, we can play with the history. Like if we click to the go back button or the forward button, then the file API, we can upload the file, how we can upload the file. Then the local storage and the session storage. This is pretty interesting topic, and you will be able to understand this topic only if you understand the JSON and you know how to convert object to string or string to a object. Then only you're able to work on the local storage and the session storage. Then there is a topic called set timeout and set interval. This is also a browser related, and you need to be make sure the use cases of these two methods. In real time also we heavily use this method. One method gives you an option like you can run only once a function after a particular interval, or one method gives you an option you can call the method again and again after a particular interval. So just try to understand the difference and the use case of these methods, because these two methods heavily gonna use in the next slide. Okay. So once your HTML is ready, you need to fetch a particular element that is called DOM manipulation. You want to add something, you need to call something. So these methods are there: query selector all. In LWC also you're going to use heavily. So focus on these two, query selector and query selector all at least. Then once the browser is working, you are able to manipulate the DOM. Then you need to understand the events. Events is more like you are building a button on the HTML, and on click of it, you are triggering an event. So what you can do with that event and how you can listen that event. So you need to focus on the add event listeners. In add event listener, just focus mainly on the syntax, like what all parameters we can pass to this particular function. Then you need to understand the difference between DOM content loaded and the load event. That is explicitly I'm telling you, because this is one of the confusing topic in JavaScript. People not understand when to go with the DOM content loaded and the load event. Now event always propagate from top to bottom. So that phenomena we call it event propagation, like event bubbling. Event also capture, but by default nowadays in the browser, event start bubble from top to bottom. And how to stop that, you have to read that. And if somebody click the button, what all thing you can do with that event. In the exam, the scenario based questions come around this. Something happens in the event, what you can do. So to understand this, build a small event and print it in the console and see what is target dot node name, how to fetch the class list of that particular event. So go through this event. Now these all events are the standard event that's coming from the browser, but there is an option you can create your own event like hello or hey, that kind of event you want to create. You can use the custom event, and the custom event is heavily used in LWC when you do the child to parent communication. So it's better to go through this example. And in this, just remember that there is only one way to pass the data. The detail property should be there. This is a hint from the exam point of view, I would say. Then now you already play around with the browser. Now you need to see the debugging and the error handling. In the exam or in the JavaScript, we use the console logs method. So you need to remember these method names as well as their use cases, when to go with log, when to go with error, when to go with one, when to go with the table or group or time. And once you are good with this, you need to understand which all method supports the string substitution in the console method. Like dynamically, can you pass the string to this method or not? So exam is more like you need to understand which method to use in which use case and what are all the valid methods out of some options. Okay, these are the basic debugging technique in JavaScript. Then you have try and catch, and finally, and in this most questions are related to like syntactic base. You should know in real time as well, like when to use try and catch, when to use finally. There are like three combinations. Either you can go with try catch, or try or finally, or catch or finally, sort of. So when to use which one, and which are the invalid use cases. So these are all code based, right? Try and catch is code based debugging. Then I would say for browser dev console, this is the heart. Like if you go to any project anytime in JavaScript at a high level as well, you should be very good in real time with the browser based debugging. Instead of writing console log again and again, you should know how to add the breakpoints in the project, how to stop the execution, how to see what is the value above the execution, and those all stuff. Apart from that, focus on a debugger statement. If you write somewhere debugger in the code, will it stop or not? That sort of combination you can try it in this particular column. So once you're good with debugging and error handling, you should know the asynchronous programming, one of the toughest topic in JavaScript, but most interesting topic and most easy to score if you understand these first two combinations. Exam will only ask you promises and async and await, but you will not be able to solve a single question of promise unless you know these two topics. So start with what is execution context and how call stack works, how Stack Overflow works, what is callback, how event loop work, how job queue work, how micro queue work. And if you understand these two topics, these are the engine, how actually the JavaScript engine works behind the scene. So if you are good with these two, you can solve any question related to asynchronous programming in JavaScript. In promises, there are some theoretical questions as well as the like programming questions in the exam. So theoretical question is more like related to promises only. What is pending state, what is rejected state, what is fulfilled state, what is settled state, when to use the then method, how you can catch the error in the promises, how promise.all and raise works, what is the difference between these two. So focus on these particular points that I have mentioned here. Then you need to focus on async and await. If you understand the promises, then only you will able to understand the async and await. Behind the scene, async and await runs the promise only, but this is the syntactic sugar on top of promise. So many people start writing async and await without understanding the promise, and they face many issues in projects. So after that, go to async and await. And async await, the question will be related to syntax only majorly. Then the server side JavaScript, and the most confusing, people are confused with the server side JavaScript with the Node.js, mainly because many people ask me in real time, like, do we need to learn the whole Node.js again for this certification, or in LWC are we using a Node.js? Node.js is a very big programming itself. So you don't need to worry about here. The server side JavaScript means to understand the basic fundamentals when you are connecting Salesforce with a Node.js. The basic thing you should know how to create the basic project, that is package.json. You should know the command, how to create the package.json, how to save the libraries in that package.json, when to use -g, when to use --save, when to use -save -dev. Then you need to go to semantic versioning. Suppose you are installing a React.js library or Express.js library, you will see always the version like this, 1.3.9 or 16.5.2. So these syntax versioning, you should know how to read it. What is called major, what is called minor, what is called patch. In the exam, there will be a scenario-based question, and you need to tell them like which version number will get increased for that particular scenario. Once you know the semantic versioning, then you go to the Node.js core module. Core module are the module for like you don't have to install explicitly. It comes out of the box with the Node.js, like HTTP module or a file system module. Okay, so those modules name you need to remember. You don't need to know anything like how to implement and all. You just know these are the modules given by Node.js out of the box. Then you need to move to the server. Now you know what are the modules available, what is the semantic versioning, how to set up the project. Then create a server. This server is very basic server of Node.js. With a few lines of code, you can spin up the server, but you need to keep an eye how to start the server. How to start the server normally, or how to start a server when the event triggers. Okay, that you need to differentiate. And then you need to go to Node.js debugging. That's the only two things you need to study. First thing, how to add the breakpoint, and you need to understand what are the difference between first line break or the particular line break. You need to remember the syntax actually, what are the commands you should use to add the breakpoint at a first line or at a particular line. And then the last one, testing. And don't get confused with the jest testing that we saw in the super batch. Here the testing is related to console.assert, not related to jest testing. So there will be no question related to jest testing. Don't worry about jest in this particular exam. So console.assert is the only way of testing right now in plain JavaScript, I would say, without any external library. And in this particular testing, you need to focus on how to call the console.assert, how I can test a particular function with this method, how I can test a sync and await combination with this particular method, or how I can do the normal operation like 2 plus 3 multiply by 3, that sort of combination, how you can test it. And little bit theory, maybe in the exam, you should know basic of software testing. You should know what is black box testing, what is white box testing, and where to use it, or integration testing. So this is all about testing. The testing scores the less 7% only. So I'll go to the important links. That's important. And if you see many people post MDN, they refer the this MDN Mozilla Developer Group web docs. It's the Bible of JavaScript, but it's very hard to understand it. So like you need to go. Everything is available in this particular doc. I would say the whole exam comes from this, if I have to conclude in one line. But it's very tough to read because it's a Bible. Right? Everything is, you need to go line by line to try to understand. So my second choice is like you can go for W3 School. Many people don't like it, but what I like about this website is it's very handy. You need to understand how to use map function. Just type in W3 School map. It gives you the online tool itself where you can run your code. You can see the syntax. Everything is all about syntax. In the exam, you have to eliminate the wrong answer based on the syntax. Maximum questions are you can solve by the elimination itself. So W3 School is a very handy website. And another website that I mentioned here is javascript.info. And if you want to understand a particular topic with little bit visualization, like with the diagrams or something like Promise, if you want to understand, you can go to this website. They have explained it very well. Then these 2, 4, and 5, I explicitly add here because many people ask me where to study the Node.js module or where to study the semantic versioning. For this particular topics, I have added these 2 links. For Node.js section, the server-side rendering, you just go to this URL and try to understand Node.js and the debugging. And for semantic versioning, it's a source of truth, that is NPM.js, who invented this semantic versioning and all. So you can go through this particular link. And if you don't want to read anything, I already created the 7 or 8 videos on my YouTube channel, section-wise explaining each and every topic. You can follow my YouTube channel to understand the topic. And if you have any doubt, you can comment. And the last slide, that is practice link. So before exam, if you want to understand, there is a cheat sheet developed by Shantanu Boral. It's a very beautifully, he concluded everything, all the section in a single cheat sheet. It's like all the syntax and all the methods, all the diagram wise. He explained very well. You can go through this link. Apart from that, if you want to practice some question, Lydia curated very good questions, but these are pretty advanced because many people start working on these questions and they demoralize, like we are not able to pass. I don't know whether I'll able to clear the exam or not. These questions are really tough. So don't worry, these questions are really very advanced. It's not related to Salesforce specifically. It's a generic advanced JavaScript question, but at least go through it once. Try to understand and check your level whether you are good with the basics or not. There are some good questions related to basics of JavaScript that helps you to clear the JavaScript certification. But if you're not able to solve a question, don't like feel I'm not good, but it takes time to be good. Apart from that, I have a particular slide in my YouTube channel where I have shown you the 25 questions that you can practice, and from each section, and that is almost a level of certification with different use cases. And this is not a terms or something which I created and I use it. So, and the fourth option, I would say you can go to LinkedIn. In LinkedIn below, there is a button called skill test. There you can test your JavaScript skill. You choose the option of JavaScript and practice some, I guess 15 to 20 questions are there. If you have a Pluralsight or a Udemy X, there I have seen some practice tests there as well, like where you can practice your skills, so you can follow that. And apart from that, yeah, if you guys have any question, I'm pretty sure you will have many, so you can ask me now. For the slides, I already hosted into my website, so you can use this link. You can get the first style for this slides. And yeah, open for any question from your end.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. This was really informative. I think we need to have multiple sessions with you now to understand everything in detail. So go ahead. If you have got any questions related to JavaScript certification or anything related to JavaScript.
I guess we are good. But if you guys have any question after this session as well, you can like message me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, or in Twitter as well. You can message me anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil. I think we are good.